Welcome everyone to Flyover Footy. A very special guest today. He's a St. Louis native. He's a goalkeeper for Crew 2 right now, and we're going to talk about everything between those two events. Patrick Schulte, how are you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. No, it's an honor to talk to you. We've chatted in the past. I don't know if you remember, but not enough. I've never gotten to get real extensive with you. I've got a long timeline here, and I'm going to try to go through it as quickly as possible. And don't let this scare you. We're going to start all the way back at Francis Howell High School.
Okay. No.
Promise it'll be fast. But I had to start there. I realized this last year in the drafts. I was like researching you, and I realized you went to Francis Howell. That's where I went as well. So I'm a Francis Howell Viking as well. I was in the marching band, so our past is a little bit different. But I thought I'd run a few little things by you to see the difference between your graduating year and mine, which is 2001. So finish this phrase. You don't have to sing it. Are you from Howell? Are you from Howell? Do you drink the water? Do you?
Oh, I got no idea.
That's okay. It's an old man nerdy thing. Do you glow in the dark? You probably know where that comes from, though, and why, right?
No, I don't, actually.
Because there's nuclear storage right next door to our high school.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I didn't know that.
I figured you did. All right. I thought another cool thing about your time at Francis Howell was I didn't know you played basketball, and the team did really well that year. So I wanted to ask you about that at least, see what it was like and what high school was like for you.
Yeah, honestly, high school was a blast. Obviously, I was lucky enough to play basketball as well, and it was probably one of the best things I've ever done. I love basketball. Like, I'm a big fan. And just being able to play. I had a lot of close friends on that team, lifelong friends. And so just getting to play with them as I played with them growing up and getting to play with them in high school was a blast.
That's awesome. Do you ever get to school like soccer players, or is anyone actually pretty good when you play them?
There's been a couple guys that have surprised me, but usually I handle them pretty easily.
You're one of the tallest soccer players on the field at most times, but that probably wasn't the case for basketball. What was your position?
I was actually up there kind of in high school.
Okay.
But I did play point guard in high school, so I was kind of a bigger point guard. I just with the team that I needed to be on, it was just more of I just needed to be a playmaker and just get the guys the ball that needed the ball, and so that's what I took over as my job. If I needed to score, I would score, but I was more of a pass-first guy in high school.
That's super cool. That's a little different than playing goalkeeper. That must have been a nice change of pace.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. Basketball is a lot more fast-paced, but, I transferred over well to soccer, and, you're saying goal, you kind of read everything just a little bit faster after my time. So it was kind of in that after that winter of basketball going into that spring of academy soccer, I feel like that's when I really kind of hit my jump, was just because everything was like more slowed down to me. So I was best of both worlds, to be honest.
Nice. And so how long had you been playing soccer before, let's say you were like 18?
Oh, probably 3.
Okay, your whole life.
Sorry. Yeah. I played basketball, baseball, and soccer almost my whole life.
Nice. Very cool. So you're saying it clicked kind of after that year of basketball. In what way did it click for you, or when did you feel like it really took off?
Probably my 8th grade year of this middle school. 8th grade was when kind of I started to really hone into soccer. Quit baseball then because soccer started to take up most of my time, and then ever since then I just had winters off. So I would just, instead of doing futsal, I just go play basketball. And Tim Kelly was fortunate enough to be in my corner and back me all the way. And he was just like, you need a break. You're still young. I want you to play multiple sports, and it's good with your athleticism and everything. So luckily for him, I was able to still play basketball. But I'd say in 8th grade was when I really started to hone in on soccer.
That's really cool. Yeah, it's rare for guys to take a whole winter off like that. That's really cool. I did want to ask you about Tim Kelly. Clearly the man is talented, right? I mean, it is a storied line of one of the best as well, of amazing goalkeepers coming out of St. Louis that have learned under Tim. Can you tell me what makes him so good, or what you liked most about him?
He's just adaptable. Honestly, it's, he's always learning. He's a funny guy, and he'll show up to training sessions and he might not have a game plan, but he'll come up with something quick on his feet. But he just knows the game really well. He knows the position. He was a really good goalkeeper himself, from what I hear. And I just think he just knows what it takes, and he knows how to push you in the right way. And yeah, I mean, he's done it for numerous amounts of years, and I'm just one of many. But yeah, he's got it all. He adapts to the new game as the years change. Yeah, and he's always creating new ideas, learning from other people as well.
Yeah, I think about like Thomas Gomez and Kyle Morton as far as their game, like distribution and playing with their feet. That was like a big step as far as goalkeepers I had seen locally. Clearly, you're very good at that as well. Can you pinpoint what he helped you most with actually over your time under him?
Yeah, I mean, just probably my feet and my mentality. Just always being locked in, not wandering. Like, sometimes in goal, you don't see action, so just staying locked in for the 90 minutes. And then honestly, everything of my game. He was my goalie coach from when I first started playing. But I mean, yeah, feet, mentally, positioning, literally I credit everything to him.
I love it. I'm going through all the things that you've done in your career before and after being pro, and I'm seeing that you trained with Feyenoord. Was that like a big deal? Was it a big change, or was it not that big of an experience for you?
It was actually a very big experience for me. It was my first time ever, I went over to Spain just with my U15 academy team, but that was my first time going alone and training with those guys, and I went with Tim Kelly as well. He went over there to do some coaching stuff, but it was a big shock for me, honestly. I think I was 16, just seeing how they do their everyday life and how they treat soccer over there it's life or death, really. It's putting food on the table. So getting that experience and learning how to play like at a faster level, higher level, and just being every day you have to be switched on and locked into training. Like, you can't really take a day off. So I learned a lot on the mental side over there, and it took me at least 3 or 4 days to get used to that. And then I think I started to fit in. But no, it really helped me out because I brought it back here, and just using that, and like still thinking about it to this day. So yeah.
Yeah, I imagine it's similar to what you're dealing with right now. But before we get to that, I want to talk also about your experience in Europe with the U.S. Youth National teams, the U.S. U18 team. I guess you got some time with. I was curious how that was, and a little foreshadowing here. Did you play in the same camp as Brady Scott at this point already, or was it different?
I did not. He's 2 years older than me.
Got it.
But no, it was a good experience as well. You're getting to play with people from all parts of the U.S. and some players are playing abroad. So kind of coming together, and just all the talents are the best in the U.S. So just kind of getting that, and just getting to compete with those guys as well as making friendships. I still have a lot of friendships with those guys all over the place. So it's just kind of a good networking from that standpoint. Like, just meeting people and knowing people. So wherever I go, I can have some friends, but as well as just getting better and learning what I need to do to get to where they were at the time, because there was a decent amount of them that were pros. So it was just a learning curve, as well as being able to show what my ability is to the national team as well.
Yeah, and I mean, networking for your career, I know that was right before SLU, but you had hopes, as I'm sure at that point already, for the future, going pro and stuff like that. This is always on your resume, right?
Yes, exactly. No, exactly.
That's very cool. Let's talk about going to SLU. No. Before that, sorry. Let's talk about St. Louis FC and the academy. You guys went on an incredible run in the playoffs with a lot of amazing players in that team, some of whom kind of stuck with you at SLU. But let's talk about that. I got to watch those games, and it was a lot of fun to watch you guys do so well. And didn't you take third place in that tournament?
Yep. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, what was that like? Because you were going up against MLS teams as a USL Academy squad, or a USSDA squad. So it felt like a David and Goliath to some extent.
Yeah, no, it was unreal. A really good experience. My years of playoffs, I never made it out of the group stage. but that team was very hungry, I'd say. We wanted to prove everyone wrong. We didn't have all the hype on around us, and it was just more let's go show everyone what we got. We knew we were a good group. We were a close group, and Luis Switzer, he led us. He brought us all in together, and we all took ownership of it, and we went out there, and we also had incredible players. We just that didn't feel like we were getting the recognition we deserved. So I think we were just all really hungry, and when we stepped on the field, it showed.
It was almost like a feeling of this transition from the USSDA that everyone was trying to play possession soccer, and it was getting more in that regard. But you guys played I know we say this a lot, but it really did feel like a blue-collar team facing all these people trying to possess the ball and play pretty. And it was a cool transition in time to see DA teams kind of get more competitive and start caring about athleticism a little more. And it felt like you guys kind of taught them that lesson the hard way in some ways.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we knew that was our strong suit. We knew some teams were probably going to have better players, but we knew, if we stick together, we outwork them, like any St. Louis person always does. It was going to be hard for them to break us down, and we knew we had the quality to put them away. And one of my teammates, Will Sands, plays for New York. He played for New York City. He always gives me crap about it, because he won that year. So he's always like, we would have beat you, everything. So he still talks to this day about it.
That's funny. That NYC team was really, really good. So no shame there.
No, they were.
You guys,
yeah, no, they were.
You guys were pretty amazing. Wait, is he a teammate of yours now?
Yes, he is. Will Sands is. Yep.
Yeah. I noticed he's been playing left back for Columbus Crew. Okay, Open Cup. We got to talk about this. I mean, this has to be a night. I mean, you have a lot of highlights in your career, but this is one that stands out. There's one more coming that I can think of, but can you talk about that Des Moines Menace game where you saved the PK to move on to the next level?
Yeah, it was an unforgettable night. I had my mom and dad and my grandparents in the stands, and nice. It was. I don't really have much to say about it. It was just a great feeling. And I credit all the guys in front of me and the coaching staff. They gave me going into the pens and going into that game. It was just a lot of encouragement, a lot of like boosting my confidence. And then when I got in the moment, I just kind of not really blacked out, but just kind of I blanked out, and I just went out and I got fortunate and saved 3 of them, and the rest, I guess, it's history. But no, it was a really enjoyable night.
When you approach PKs, and maybe you blanked out and you just guessed right, maybe it is just that, but is there anything that like you had trained for? Did you expect him to go a certain way in that moment, or was it just kind of blind luck and athleticism perhaps?
No, I mean, I definitely read the player.
Mm-hmm.
I try and read, their body language, where obviously if they're looking or doing whatever, and just kind of what kind of player they are, and just kind of fancy that. If I have a gut feeling, then I'll go that way. Mm-hmm. But I kind of try and read the person and then go off that.
No, that makes sense. As far as starting that game, I was hoping you would get the start as a St. Louis fan. We're always rooting for you guys, you Academy kids. Did you expect to get that start? Do you know who made that decision, or maybe first told you that you were going to do that?
It was Brian Jones told me like the day before, I think it was. He was just like, "Hey, you're gonna get the nod tomorrow," and I was like, I was ready for it. I was happy. I was wanting to get obviously an appearance as an Academy kid. You're like, you train with them every day, and so I was ready for it. But yeah, he told me, and then that was just like telling my parents, and then just kind of game prep.
That's amazing.
Leading up to it.
Just one day to prepare. That's kind of good and bad, isn't it? So crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, I getting to train with them every day, and I also had Academy, so I felt in form. I didn't feel like I was out of it, and I was traveling with them at the time as well, so I was very, very in the loop with with everything that was going on.
Love it. And Des Moines Menace, that's like, it's not an easy team. That's a scary team to face in the Open Cup. Yeah. So very, very, very
definitely.
Cool. So yeah, let's talk about SLU and you choosing SLU. I saw that 3-time all academic selection at Francis Howell. So I assume academics are important to you. You obviously excel at them. So was that part of your decision of going there?
Yes, yeah, definitely. Obviously, St. Louis is a very good academic school. But I mean, I wouldn't say it was like my main factor. Um, it all came down to the coaching staff, and obviously, like having that good of a school behind it really helped. But yeah, it really all came down to this coaching staff and what they were trying to build.
If I'm not mistaken, you spent 3 years there, and Kevin Kalish obviously sounds like a coach that you trust, but I don't know if I love Kevin and I admire him, but I still didn't see what you guys did coming. You know what I mean? 3 years later.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Can you talk about your journey at SLU, and then we'll kind of talk about that final run after that?
Yeah, obviously wasn't the prettiest and what I would have wanted it to be like from the start. But I think when Kayla started recruiting myself, and obviously he was recruiting Kippy at the time when we were in academy, you knew all the guys that he was trying to go get. And for me, like having that relationship with all of them and knowing what kind of talent they have, obviously I didn't know what the college game was really going to be like, but I knew that Kalish was going to get the right people. And then honestly, Kippy started it all. And once Kippy committed, it started to be kind of a domino effect of he got me to commit, and then we went and got more and more people. But it was a rough start, losing in the A10 first 2 years. But I would say those moments got us to where we were in the last year because we kept such a strong team and everyone was there from the start, very young, playing a lot, battled with some injuries, but it was a journey that I'm very glad I took.
Yeah, I just talked to Kevin, and well, first of all, actually, Kip Keller's on the list. I got to talk to him, but I'm hoping to get him a couple senior team starts before I bring him in. So crossing my fingers on that for this season. But unbeaten in the A10 in that final season, and then the NCAA tournament was magical. Just so much fun to watch you guys and see where you came from and what you looked like in this tournament. It's some of my favorite soccer I've seen St. Louisans play. It was just really high paced. You guys were adaptable. You kept them in a lot of games, so that was fun to watch as well. But we got to focus in on this Duke game, and we gotta memorialize this moment with Thor Ulferson. You really kept your cool, and it looked like they were all kind of really trying to get under everybody's skin. And can you talk about the challenges of that game in general, not just that moment?
Yeah, no, we obviously Duke was a very, very good team, and we knew that their attacking threats were very dangerous. And honestly, we just were like, let's stay together. Obviously we saw what they did in the UCLA game, and obviously a team that likes to talk trash. But we knew what was going to come, but we were like, let's just stay to ourselves. Let's just play our game plan. And it ended up being a little more crazy than what we had hoped it to be, but. Yeah, it was just really staying our cool, stick to the game plan that Kalish gave us, and we knew if we did that, and we'd come out on top as we did.
They were so frustrated. It seemed Duke is Duke, and so they just seemed aghast that they were losing to this little SLU team. And again, it just feels like a David and Goliath situation that you were once again faced up with, and rising to the occasion. So that was really fun to watch. Anything else about that moment with Thor? And I think it happened twice, right? But was it hard to keep your cool, or is just you were trained in that moment? I knew you kind of commented on it after the game a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean it was just it's banter, talk trash during the game, whatever it is. But obviously you just gotta stick to the game plan, stick to just being able to play. Obviously he could put one past me like he did at any time, so just make sure if it happens once, it doesn't happen again. But yeah, no, it was just more about getting the win, and we got the win, so that's all I really cared about. Did
you poke the bear a little bit? Did you dish it back, or was there none of that?
I did. I poked him. Well, he scored on me, and then he started it, and then obviously Kippy, and then we're talking during the game as well. So It wasn't just me, but yeah, no, it was all fine. I saw him at the college showcase, and there was no beef there. It was just, what happens on the field stays on the field.
That's great. Yeah, I wondered if you'd seen him in MLS Next Pro or not, but it sounds like no.
No, I had not.
Very cool. I appreciate you talking about that. That's stuff I kind of wonder about once they happen. Let's talk about the draft. SLU, all these wonderful, incredible years, and the draft really codified it. You know what I mean? Like, it really showed that it was a real run, that these players are extremely talented. It wasn't just Kevin Kalish bringing them up. That showcased it, of course, but a lot of talented guys on that roster, and the draft really showed that. I think it was eight drafted players set a record since several years ago, tied the record rather. Can you talk about the draft for you, though? You went 12th overall to Columbus Crew. Is it scary? Is it exciting? Like, what was it like that day?
A little bit of both, to be honest. Obviously the draft happened later in January, and you were hearing report dates were going to be that happened on Tuesday. You heard that they were going to be there that weekend. So that part of not knowing where you could go, you could end up in Canada, you could end up in California, all at the drop of a hat. So that part was very scary, but I had a general idea of where I was going to fall, so it helped me out a little bit. And then just after that, it was all excitement, just with my family, all my friends. I had a big party my mom put on for me, so it was very special. And yeah, just a very exciting day for sure.
Can you give us some behind the scenes? Did you know because your agent or maybe the team contacted you and you kind of had an idea who was after you, or just kind of where you fell in the draft, you had an idea of who might pick you?
My agent, I talked with my agent a lot leading up to it, and he would tell me the teams that were reaching out.
Nice.
But he gave me a pick range where he thought I would fall. And then obviously, you see those teams in those pick ranges, and then you're like, okay, it could be one of these. But some of the trades that happened on draft day kind of mixed everything up. So it was like, so then you kind of had to sit back and be like, okay, what could happen here? Could something totally drastically change? But no, I had not a really good idea, but I had a general idea that Columbus could be the spot.
I remember being extremely weirded out how late you went. I mean, 12th is amazing. You should be very proud. But yeah, it was such a weird draft in that way. And of course, it's just all about need and what teams are choosing what. So I just thought that was so crazy. I wasn't biting my nails for you, but it weirded me out for sure.
Yeah, no, it was a long wait, that's for sure.
Yeah, it probably felt like an eternity to you as well. I think the weird thing about that draft is that that your hometown club is in the next year's draft. You know what I mean? So is St. Louis City in the back of your mind? I don't know if the expansion draft is even a possibility, but I know we were all very disappointed. We're like, just wait one more year if you can, or whatever. Obviously, you shouldn't. You got to do what you got to do. But, was St. Louis City in the back of your mind as you were kind of going into that draft?
Yeah, I would not gonna lie to you. Yeah, I mean, it's my hometown club, obviously. They're not even here yet, and I kind of have like a soft spot in my heart just because I'm a St. Louis guy. So obviously, like having that idea, but it's business. Like I got to grow up at some point. And the offer was too good to be true. And, this has always been my dream to play professional soccer. And so I just couldn't pass it up.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
So do you know, is it possible for you to be available in the expansion draft? I'm not sure how it works. I thought I'd ask you.
Yeah, to be honest, I would have to ask my agent that. I just focus day by day and, whatever happens. But, it'd be cool sometime in my career to play for them just as a hometown guy.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, you got to take it game by game. Of course, I respect that. Your season's not over. You got a season to finish here, and you've been on a run of playing a lot and doing well. Can you talk about your experience with Columbus Crew from draft day to now, training and playing with Crew 2? I'm just curious what it's like being inside the Columbus Crew organization.
Yeah, no, it's been really great. I've learned a lot playing with, it's a big step up, just level of talent. And so just getting to train that day in, day out every day and, get coaching that, it's singled out, that they're trying to grow you because they're paying you at the end of the day. So they're trying to make you the best player that you can be. and obviously you have to want to be the best player that you can be. So, but just yeah, day in day out, it's just work as hard as you can and try and get on the 11 at the end of the weekend. But no, I've been lucky. Brady's dealt with injury as of late, but he's back, so we'll be back to switching off. But I've been getting a good run of games. We're doing well. We just need a point to clinch the MLS Next Pro like regular season. And obviously that was a goal of ours set out at the beginning of the year. So it's just training with the first team each and every day, and then day before game, or even sometimes just that day of game is when I'll go down to the second team.
That's cool. Yeah. So I was curious if you trained with the first team. I don't know if you knew. I always think of the senior room, the goalkeeper, for the senior team, and how cool his story was. He played for Curacao in the CONCACAF nation, some kind of CONCACAF tournament.
Yeah.
And he looked amazing in that tournament. I was really cheering for him. And then Columbus Crew went and signed him. So that's kind of a cool thing. And I imagine you're learning from him as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. We got two senior goalkeepers, the 1 and 2, Evan Bush and obviously Aloy Room. And they're giving me pointers, feedback, as well as the coach, Tim Hanley. Just trying to learn off them every day, watching what they do, watching what I can take from them, and put it into my game. It's been really good. I've learned a lot from both of them for sure.
Is it similar to the change in pace and things like that when you went to Spain when you were 15, 16, or like did you have to really kind of grow into the game? I've noticed that a lot of the SLU players have had to grow into MLS. Maybe not MLS Next Pro though. I don't know what that level's like.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a step up, but I wouldn't say it was as much as it was when I went over to Feyenoord. Just because I was so young and I've never experienced anything like that. But national teams, you play against guys that play at the MLS level at 18, and then I trained in the USL. So obviously I've been getting those steps up along my career. So I wouldn't say it was a big jump I had to make. Obviously you got to adapt to probably a little harder shots. Game moves a little faster. You got to think a little bit more. But I wouldn't say it's a crazy jump that you have to make. But the one thing I would say, and I talk to my roommate about it all the time, is the mental side of it is off the field. But then even after practices, sometimes you're just mentally drained and you just want to come home and just sleep.
I imagine so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tactical game, right? Is that kind of the mental side? Or I guess you also have to be switched on for just so long in a day.
Yeah, definitely that. You're at the facility, or hard workouts, hard training sessions. And there's everything happens so much faster where you got to be thinking, even if you're playing small-sided, you got to be finding where your next pass is going to be. They want the ball moving all the time. So just kind of just trying to think 2 or 3 steps ahead is something that in college I feel like I got away with. But now I've definitely learned how to think 3 or 4 steps ahead.
Nice. Well, you've been doing well, and it's been fun to watch your progress. It took a while for someone to score their first goal on you in MLS Next Pro, but I have also noticed that it seems like you have a really good defense, or at least a defensive system in front of you. So I was curious if that was the case and what it's like playing with Crew 2 and running that defense.
Oh, I love it. Obviously, they're a lot young. I would say a lot younger guys, just because MLS Next Pro is kind of a development league. So you get younger guys, so it's more guys my age or even younger. So you kind of have a little more of a connection with them. But the coach is very fun to play for. High line, very vertical, not just kicking it, but how can we be vertical on the floor? He wants me playing out of my box. So it's, I'm learning a lot more on, like, when I go down there as well. It's not like I'm just learning with the first team. I'm learning how can I, play at this level, or like play this style, which is something that I've kind of played before, but not as crazy as he wants it to be. But and then obviously the team's adapting to it. We're a high pressing team, so we don't give up a lot of chances, but sometimes we give up some chances where it's pretty cutthroat and clear. But it's fun. all the guys really bought into it too, which makes it better.
Everything you just said about how you play sounds very adaptable to St. Louis City. I'm just saying. I got my hopes and dreams. You don't comment, but it sounds like a pretty easy transition to me. So hopefully the right people are hearing that and they can make my dreams come true. Anything else from you, Patrick? Any other thoughts about your career so far and your hopes and dreams for the future? What's been going on in your life?
Not much, just day by day, year by year. Obviously just trying to be the best player I can be, and hopefully see here sooner or later I'll get my MLS debut if I just keep working, and that's my next goal right now is my MLS debut.
Perfect. We love it. We're rooting for you, man, and it's been fun to follow it. Yeah. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
We'll chat another time, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.